Preparing the machine for running a design. First thing we did is we already brought our design in. Now we can actually send all the designs we intend to run that day just by keep sending them over from the ASP software. Once we're done that, then what we got to do is choose a design out of the ones that we sent to run. To do that, you got to be on the main menu where it says menu 1 menu 1, and we hit set. That's your enter button to go into it. And from here, I can use the speed up and down to scroll through the designs and choose the one I want to run. Now we're going to run a design called Diva. I'm going to hit set to choose it, and now it comes on the screen, and you can see right now we're in auto running mode. That means we have chosen the design and we are ready to set up the machine to run it. Now the first thing I have to do is I have to enter what press unit is going to run first, second, third, fourth, and on through the design. Now in this design we are using 2 color 3 millimeters and a 4 millimeter. So this design is going to use press unit number 3, 5, and 6. That's the color sequence of my design. To enter that information, you press the unit change button 2 times. And now it's asking me what is the first color I want to run. And I'm going to enter that information here by using the speed up button. So I want the first press unit to run in this design, my 3 millimeter purple, so I'm going to dial up until it says 3 and hit set. Now it's asking me what the second color to run is. I want that to run 3 millimeter red, which is on press unit number 5, so I'll hit the up button until it reads number 5, and I'll hit set. And the third color to run, I want it to run my 4 millimeter golds. So I'm going to type in, that's on press unit number 6, so I'll hit the speed up button until it registers number 6, and then I hit set. Once we're done, we can hit previous, and now the machine will actually move to the first color. Now I'm already set up on color number 3. The next step I have to do is actually move my table out and prepare it for the transfer. I'm going to use my arrow down button on the control panel to move the table out. Now you want to feel the table, make sure that there's no dirt on there. Dirt in the air will actually sit on this table and make it hard for your transfer sheet to adhere to it. So periodically I'll use some Windex and spray down my table with it. And just take a paper towel and then wipe it down, make sure it's completely dry. And the silicone that's actually on this table will actually start to become tacky again. Now you don't want to use soap, you don't want to use any kind of detergents on it because that will put a film on it. And right now just using Windex I have all the tack that I need on that table. So now we're going to place our transfer sheet. Now your transfer sheet comes from Coleman & Company, and you cut yourself a length that you need to run the design. This is a pretty large design, so I cut it to scale with my table. Now you need to pull the white backing off your transfer sheet, okay? The white backing is to protect your design after it's been completed so you could store the design on a shelf. Now the best technique when you're only running by yourself to pull this apart is I'll pull the corner off and stick it to my shirt, and then with my hands, it'll free up my hands to loosen up the rest of the white, and then that'll help me pull it apart just like that. Now you're going to want to save this, so keep this aside. We'll put it back on the design when the design is finished. Transfer tape is actually sticky, okay? And you can feel that tack right on there. That's going to be facing up. We're going to put it on our table. Make sure that it slides underneath the press units if you have to go back that far. So I'm going to slide it underneath. And then with the back of my fingernails, I'm going to smooth it out. Get any of the bubbles out, just like this, okay? The gap between this press unit and the Spangle tape is really close. So if there's a bubble on the tape, it'll actually start pulling the tape off during the run. So we don't want that to happen. So just use the back of your fingernails to make sure it's completely flat. And now what I'll do is I'll set my table back to a center position by using the arrow up button. Press and hold it, and the table will move in. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I got to set my machine to the start point, okay? To do that, we hit the trace button 2 times. And it's asking me set to go to frame center, or the center of the start point of the design where the first spangle gets placed. Or if I was doing a repeat function, I would choose edge. We'll talk about that later. So I'm going to hit the set button to go to center, and the frame will move to its extreme positions. And now it'll advance to the start point right there. So now what I need to do is trace my design and ensure that my press unit, when it traces, that the design is going to be on the transfer and not anywhere outside of the transfer tape. To do that, we hit trace button 1 time this time, and then we hit the set button to begin the frame to move. So I hit set, and now we're watching this press unit, making sure that it lines up on the transfer tape, making sure that none of it's outside of it. Now, if you find that the frame, when you do your trace, that it is outside the transfer tape, you can use your arrow buttons to readjust your table and then retrace. Trace 1 time and hit set, and then watch it again. Now, I'm watching press unit number 3 and where it's lining up. It's because the first color in my design is going to be from press unit number 3. That's tracing a design. The last step is when I'm doing multiple copies, multiple sheets of a design. My machine is going to start the design right here and finish here, but it makes it hard for me to remove my transfer sheet off and put the next transfer sheet on when the table's in this position. We're going to want to set an offset. An offset is a command that's going to make this frame come out to a location that makes it easy for me to remove my transfer tape and put the next sheet down to begin the next copy. To do that, on the control panel, you press the OFS button, offset button, and then you move the frame. Now move it slowly, okay? You want to stay within about 1.5 inches from the black bounding box, okay? Right here, the frame of the table, where the back of it is. And I'll just move it forward a little bit more. And I'll maybe move the table this way. There we go. And if you notice, my press unit is about an inch away from the black frame, both on the side and from the back. The reason why you want to do that is because there's an overlimit sensor when this frame comes too far out. If you happen to engage it, now the overlimit sensor kind of sounds like this. When I do break it, okay, it's going to tell me why limit error. If I set the offset too far out and I hit that overlimit, I have to perform the start point trace and the trace all over again. So recenter up your table, just like that. Get out of the overlimit. Hit trace twice, hit set. Overlimit, overlimit, and then it goes to the start point. I'll then trace again to make sure that my press unit is tracing within the bounds of the transfer. Readjust as necessary and retrace. You can do that as many times as you need to. And now I'll reset my offset. So I'll press offset again, and I'll move the frame, being careful not to engage the overlimit. I'm going to stay within 1 inch, 1.5 inches from the back frame, okay? And if it's easy for me to remove my transfers over here, I'll stay within 1 inch from the left, okay? So stay far enough away from the black bounding box. Now to set the offset, all you do is hit set. And now you can see that offset is now on. So the machine will start and stop and end right here. So now all that's required for me to do is hit the start button. At any given time, you could stop the machine, move the frame out, and inspect your work. Especially if a piece of spangle actually that was cut and sticking to the underside of the punch unit actually fell on your transfer sheet. You could actually pull the frame out like this, remove it from the transfer tape, And then to get the machine back to working position, you press the offset button, which is also an origin, and they misspelled it here. Press the origin button and hit set. The frame will move back to the working position, and then you hit start. Now the design's all finished, so now what I could do is I could pull up the transfer sheet off the table, just loosen it up on the table, slide it forward a little bit. I'll take my white transfer backing, and I hold it from the bottom right and the top left corner just like this. What I'll do is I'll line up the edges, and smooth it out, adhering it to my transfer sheet. And the design's finished. Now if this is going to go onto a shirt, what I'll do is I'll take my scissors and I'll just trim the excess off here. There we go. And at this point I can lay down my next transfer sheet and hit start again to begin the next run.